The thing that is difficult for me is I just want you to notice the things that need to be done. I need you to notice when the milk is gross in the fridge and toss it out.
Yeah.
I need you to notice if the laundry needs to be switched to the dryer. Notice that I'm recording a podcast and, maybe I should start dinner. We can tell them, but that's part of the the mental
Yeah.
load is I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, we have a point, but at the same time, it's like, is that reasonable?
Hell yeah, it's reasonable. I think a lot about this, especially because we do have this podcast and we talk about things like this a lot. I want things to be different. And so it's like, I'm going to have different expectations. And sorry if there's a little bit of pushback or, it's not going to be easy right out of the get-go. He's not going to say like, oh my gosh, I want to make dinner tonight.
Yay!
It's not going to happen.
But spoiler alert, neither are you.
Wine and cheese for dinner again tonight. Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Drinks with the Girls. We are Karen and Lisa, and we are your go-to girlies for some fun chit-chat to bring you all things midlife. And today we're going to be talking about something that affects every single woman out there, and that is the mental load that we're all carrying. And before we really dive in, we're going to tell you what we're drinking, and I am drinking Bloom Sparkling Energy Drink.
I feel like
it says
had
natural energy. Yeah, I've had a couple of them, and I usually don't like cherry flavor, but this one's cherry lime, and it's pretty good. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah.
On the Drinks with the Girls meter.
Exactly. What are you drinking?
Trying something new. Stocked up at my local store for cool drinks. Every time I go by there, I'm like, ooh, let's see what they have that I can drink on the podcast.
Is that what it's called? Store for cool drinks?
Yeah, it is. I renamed it. I don't like their name. I don't even know what it is. Some crazy, I don't know. Okay, I am drinking. It's a really cute little package because, of course, that's how we pick all of our drinks at Drinks with the Girls. And it is a House Wine Rainbow Edition Rosé Bubble. Ooh, that is refreshing. I'm not a massive rosé fan, but that's pretty freaking good.
So it's real rosé?
Yeah, wine in a can. Who knew? But it's like bubbly.
That's hard. I have a hard time drinking beer out of a can. I don't know if I can drink wine out of a can.
There's this French comic that my husband plays all the time. I cannot remember what his name is. I'll put it in the show notes. And he does this whole riff on, and so you were bored, so you decided to open wine in a can. And he just goes off on this whole wine in a can. He's like, you Americans, why would you drink wine in a can? It's like,
yeah, that's a valid
convenience.
Question. Actually, wine in a can helps with what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, it does. I was like, oh no, we're not drinking soft drinks tonight. I need a special little elixir here.
Yes. And we are talking about that invisible mental load that we as women carry in that big, huge pack. I have this visual of like Santa's pack that he has all his toys in that we throw it over our shoulder and we're like, we can barely walk because we're holding it, but it's invisible.
He has the freaking reindeer and a magic sleigh to carry all of it. I don't see anyone coming with a magic sleigh to rescue me.
And he has Mrs. Claus and all the elves
who are organizing his ass. So come on.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Just saying.
I think, kids are 27 and 30, and I had this idea that, things.
I had a dream
that things would kind of get easier as they got older. Like, and I don't know what I was thinking, like, what, I'm not going to be involved? No, but I don't know. For some reason, I just thought, okay, once they're out and on their own and doing their own thing, then I can go back to just worrying about myself. But then you have a partner and your kids are still your kids. So even if
Yep.
they don't live in your home, you are still worried about them, thinking about them.
Yeah.
You have emotions about them, and that's all part of the invisible load. And you, of course, still have your kids at home. So
I do.
your
Yeah, they
mental
aren't
load,
invisible. Sometimes I wish they were,
right?
but they're not. I can't go poof. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, because we have to manage the emotions and you have to manage the schedules, and like Peyton, when she was applying for her jobs, she would send me all of her resumes and her cover letters. And so I would
Oh
help
my
her edit
Lord.
and go through. Yeah. And
Has
so
she
it's
heard
just
of
like,
AI?
she did use AI, but
She
was,
wanted some mom
I mean,
AI.
yes. And thankfully I was the OG AI, FYI. But
Hell's yeah.
yeah, she wanted it to not really sound like AI either. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, even when they're older, you're still doing the things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, it's interesting to me because I feel like there's two parts to this, right? There's the all the things I got to do thing. There's the my family's going to slack on this, so I feel like I need to take up the slack. And then there's the like stuff that isn't even like in your consciousness all the time, but is just kind of like floating around. Like, and listeners, you probably have heard me talk about this before, but I'm in the process of getting disability for my son and my husband, who's had some medical issues. And he also is British. He has a green card. He's been in this country legally for 20 years, something like that. But for various reasons, we decided it would be good to move to citizenship. And so we would have dual citizenship. But obviously, it's a pretty crazy time to be dealing with immigration in any shape or form. I'll just leave it there.
So I know that I know you're up at 3 a.m. though, thinking about though. You might not be thinking about it 24/7, but those are the types of things that wake me up at 3 a.m.
Yep.
The details about that, or like a conversation I had with somebody and I rethink what I said and, oh, did they take that wrong?
Yeah.
Or I think of, an appointment one of my kids has, or just like, goodness only knows. Right. But it's all those things that are circling around in our brains that we're holding on to. It's like, it's those plates that we keep spinning in the air.
Oh, I legit, and I think I may have talked about this on the menopause, or maybe it was the sleep episode. I legit had to go to my doctor and get anxiety medicine to sleep because I was literally running on 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night. And I don't care how in shape or how awesome you are, that will make you a fucking crazy person. And I was like, I can't do this. So I have meds that I use that I can kind of titrate, but I have to do that or I cannot sleep through the night. And I wake up and I'm just sitting there spinning. And it's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't function on no sleep.
No.
So let's talk about, so what is the mental load? Basically, it is the invisible labor that keeps everything running, your life and your partner's life and your children's lives if you have them. And you are the project manager, basically, that's working overtime and not getting paid for it.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate because I want to.
Okay.
I am sure I don't know who they are, and if they exist, I'd love them to buy me a margarita and sit down and talk to me, because I wonder if there's women out there that are going, well, just walk away. Like, I don't understand. Don't take that on. Like, they're big guys, they're big girls, whatever. Just, that's not your problem. Right. And we have two different women, me in the trenches with parenting, you supposedly out of that role. And both of us feel the same damn way. And I talk to women all over the field that same way. So I would love to know who you are and have you buy me a drink. But I have heard from women where, it's such a long story that I don't want to get into on this podcast, but like with my husband's disability, like executive function has been a serious issue for him. And people are like, well, he's a big boy, he can do his own. It's like, no, you don't understand. And for example, medications. He has a really hard time remembering when to renew those and keeping track and da-da-da. And he'll like run out and then be like, hey, I ran out. So you could take the approach that, well, he's a big boy. He has to figure it out and then he can suffer the consequences. Problem with that is I suffer the consequences if he runs out of his meds. So I feel like there's stuff like that like, I don't want to be in charge of that, but I don't feel like I have much of a choice in that kind of situation. I feel like there's that kind of stuff. And then there's the stepping in when you should just let it be. I feel like we're talking about the stuff that we have got to do, like, because nobody else is doing it or there's going to be a massive problem or whatever. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. Like, why, how did we get here? And where are the men in all of it? Like, what's happening? We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, agreed. I don't know that there's a woman, at least there's not a woman that I have ever come into contact with who isn't exhausted from trying to keep all the balls in the air, trying to handle all the things, whether it's, remembering, your best friend's birthday and getting a card or, your best couple of friends, or you're going to get together with some friends and you're the one that's going to make the reservation for dinner, or, helping your kids schedule dentist appointments, or, helping your 27-year-old daughter who's moving into her first apartment buy a couch. Stuff like that. And so it's just, and not that those are hard things and that we don't like to do, but it's like when you add up all the things for all the people, it's just, you get to the tipping point and we get to a point where we don't feel like, we don't know how to get out of it. Once we're kind of on this hamster wheel, it's like, how do you get out? So the mental load is not new, but it's this invisible, unpaid labor that women carry to keep their lives and the lives of their people running smoothly. But like we were talking about, it's not just the doing, it's not just the logistics of the things, it's the thinking, the remembering, the anticipating, the managing.
Yeah, right? It's like just the constant buzz of it is kind of the way it's like, to me, it's like this constant like buzzing in my head that just never goes away.
Yeah. It is like that. I don't know if it's a meme or whatever it is, but when it talks about like having like 47 tabs open on your computer, it is literally like that, because we're keeping track of the birthdays and the appointments and gifts and all that. But we're also the ones that notice when things in the fridge go bad and toss them, because for some reason, other people just don't know when things are moldy or sour.
Or when we need more. My favorite is when someone leaves like quarter of a cup of milk, right? And it's like, no, I didn't finish the last. It's like, oh my God, are you kidding me with this? Really?
Yeah. And also it's like being the emotional thermostat. Like I did this. I've really unhooked from a lot of this because my kids had incredible sibling rivalry. And so I was trying to be the emotional thermostat, manage, take a temperature in the room. And also my ex-husband, like, okay, what's everybody's moods? How do I need to, smooth everything? Or how do I need to act or be, or what do I need to say? Fuck that. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, tell me the sibling rivalry piece gets better, because I'm in the thick of it now. And I'm just like, oh my God, when I die, you guys are just going to kill each other. So then what?
Luckily, when they got older, it got a little bit better. Like they went to college together. And so that was great, because then my son could really be like big brother to his sister on campus,
Yeah.
And then, now, of course, he's almost 30 and they still have their moments. In fact, we just had lunch together today and we were talking about that and what kind of a shit he's been to her, because he knows exactly how to push her buttons, and she's gotten a lot better at not letting him. But man, he used to just be like, boop, and she'd be like, and then that was it. Yeah. So yes, there is hope. It will get better, but not immediately if they're like my kids.
Yeah. But I relate to that whole like take the temperature thing, right? Because it's just this like you go in the room and you do the scan, and like it's like me when they get home from, like, Liam gets home from his program and Giovanna gets home from school. It's just like, okay, like, where's the temperature of the room? What's going on? Like, how's everybody feeling? Like Yeah.
And then there's the navigating, like when somebody, usually my son, would do something to upset my daughter.
Yep.
And then she would come to me and be like, ah, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
give it all to me. And then I would feel like, okay, what do I do with this? How do I,
Yep.
and it's just,
and then it's you're playing favorites and you never get in trouble. And I'm just like, oh, God. Yeah. But,
yes.
Spoiler alert, it's not just the kids. I
Correct.
I mean, my situation's kind of unique because my husband, like, part of his disease is executive function and things like that. But there's just I just don't think men think about that kind of stuff, And I think, like, in the olden days, they all had secretaries. And their secretaries were the ones that, like, kept track of all that crap. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't have no full-time secretary.
No. That's what all moms need is a
full-time assistant. I love, you guys can go back and listen to our episode on the Rachel Rodgers book.
We should all be millionaires.
I almost said, who wants to be a millionaire?
Me, please.
Yes, raise your hand. But she talks about this idea of just budget for a virtual assistant. And she goes through the calculus of, like, how much time do you spend dealing with all this, like, trivial bullshit, scheduling the things and doing the stuff and this and that and the other, and just kind of breaks it down. And she makes a lot of sense, I gotta say. And I mean, there's research behind it. We aren't just, like, bitching about the patriarchy, although we love to bitch about the patriarchy. And the research shows definitely that women carry more cognitive labor load than men, even when we work full time. Like, that means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Oh, yeah. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. How did we get here? Speaking of the patriarchy, why do women carry the bulk of it?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was re-listening to, I think it was our episode with Alyssa Scarano on trauma, and she was talking about just kind of this idea of how you learned to function as a child, right? Like, what role you played. And I was really thinking about that a lot, like, vis-a-vis, like, how I grew up. And in our house, it was read the room when my dad gets home. Read the room of his mood. And my mom was always going around, like, fixing things and, like, making sure that everything was okay and, like, tying herself in a knot to do it. So it's like, it's no wonder I grew up, like, trying to people please my way into relationships. I mean, that's what I did. And if I didn't turn myself into a massive pretzel, like, I didn't have a good relationship. And I could not unhook from that for the longest time. I just felt like it was up to me to Vulcan mind meld the situation. And if it didn't work, then it was me. It wasn't, God forbid, it was the other person wasn't a good fit. It was me that was screwing it up.
Okay, quick pause. Have we talked about the Pod Squad lately?
Oh, the Pod Squad. You mean our email list /VIP lounge /digital wine club?
Exactly. So listeners, if you're not on it yet, you're basically making life harder for yourself when it comes to podcasts.
Like trying to scroll for show notes while speed walking on a treadmill. Wait, what was that link again? Oh, no. Grab the side rails.
Or pulling up that book we mentioned while you're in the Starbucks line and then realizing everybody else moved up 3 cars and now you're that woman.
We've all been there. That's why we made the Pod Squad. You'll get new episode alerts every week with direct links. Easy to listen, easy to share.
And show notes straight to your inbox. So when we drop a life-changing product, book, hot tip, or yummy new drink, you're not rummaging through your memory like a woman searching for her reading glasses when they're on top of her head.
It's organized, it's helpful, it's for you, babes.
So join the Pod Squad. The link is in the show notes. Just tap it.
Snacks, sarcasm, solidarity.
And obviously, fighting the patriarchy.
We write at dawn.
I think when we're girls, that's how we're conditioned. Mm-hmm. Like, and especially if you were an oldest daughter, right? Like, Taylor has that song, and I'm not a good Swiftie,
says.
But she has that song about being the oldest daughter, and every time I hear it, it's just like, it's like a knife.
Yep.
And it's interesting because I have, my parents are divorced. So I'm the youngest in one family and the oldest in another family.
That's so wild. So you're like the perfect research subject.
Right? Or I'm just incredibly messed up. Or both.
Half full, half empty.
Like, because I remember, when I was a little girl, it's like you have to be you can't say exactly what you want to say. You have to say yes, even though you might mean no. You have to let your little brother have the last cookie. So I think we learn at an early age how to be appeasing, how to start putting others' needs in front of ours, how to not really be authentic. Keep what we're really feeling or thinking inside, because that's what a quote unquote good girl does.
And it's interesting because, I mean, yes, I agree with that. But there's also this kind of unspoken piece that I don't know if it's necessarily directly connected to that, but to me, it's if I don't do it, it's not going to get done kind of thing. And I'm not just talking about decorating for the holidays or whatever. Like, I'm talking about like the real stuff that if it gets missed, it's a problem. And some of that I think is what we talk ourselves into, right? Like, does it really matter that like everybody has the, monogram stocking in their favorite color? And, like, really? I mean, that's like, that's a whole different thing. Yeah. But some of it I feel like is pretty true. I just don't think in a lot of ways men are wired to kind of remember all that stuff. That's, I just feel like women are really detail oriented for the most part. I mean, I'm generalizing, so I probably shouldn't talk out my ass like that, but
I just think it's the training that we all get. The men get it and we get it. And I mean, think of the TV shows or movies when we were younger and growing up. It's like you have the moms that never, a Christmas Story, that mom never sits down to a hot meal, because she's always, taking care of everybody else, making sure everybody else has the hot meal, and she never has a chance to sit down. The wife who's managing everything. I think of Carol Brady.
Yeah,
although they had Alice.
Yeah, Alice was pretty bomb. Well, and it's interesting because I don't know if you guys know the name June Lockhart, but she just passed. She was an actress. God, I think she was like 102, 103. But she was the mom in Leave It to Beaver. And in my mind, like the sarcastic me goes, well, she stuck around so long because she was still trying to keep track of everybody in that family. She couldn't die because there was too many things to remember. So it just kept her going.
But I think somehow we get to this place where we think that it is our job to hold it all together. Like what would happen if, and like you said, like, I think we want it a certain way. We want all the monogram Christmas stocking.
Yeah. And that's some bullshit. Like that's on us. Yeah.
Totally. We set ourselves up in a lot of that. And I think the hard part is, when we're younger and we're really in the thick of it and we're doing all the monogram stockings and the 12 fishes dinner and all of it.
2.5 fishes. Thank you very much.
Okay. 2.5 now. Yes. But then we get to our 40s and 50s and we're freaking tired and we want to set some things down, but we don't know how. We've gotten onto this, this train, and it's like, okay, who's gonna pull the cord and stop it so I can get off?
Yeah. And I definitely think, the Panini generation, as we talked about in our episode, between like the caregiving and the raising kids, like that, you have to perform at such a high vibrational level that you can't, like, I just feel like a lot of times I can't just take a break from that level because I don't know how I'm going to rev myself back up again to get there, right? If I don't, which is ridiculous. And I suppose someone could call bullshit on that, but it's like you run at that level for long enough, you don't really have any other way to be. A lot of times I feel like it's not even conscious. Like it gets to the point where it's in like that reptilian brain of yours. Yep. That's what I mean. It's like you train it to function at that like ridiculous level, and that's the way it kind of operates because, it's like when they talk about people, repeating history in their relationships and wanting the chaos and inviting trauma and all that because that's all they've ever known. Like, that's what it reminds me of. Your brain just gets used to that. It doesn't know how to function without that.
Yeah. And I think it's easier when all of our hormones are still intact.
Yep.
It's way easier. And then you throw, perimenopause and menopause into the whole mix. Yeah. I'm going to speak for myself, but granted, I haven't been in the thick of parenting in years, but it's like when menopause hit me, I thought something was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't still do all the things I used to do well, and
Yep.
why do I not give a shit about some of these things and really want to just throw them in the trash can, you
Yeah.
know?
We always joke about the whole no forks left to give. So I actually sent Karen this meme this morning and I've been laughing about it like all day long. And it's like this, it's kind of like an old fashioned sign, right? And it says, it's a picture of like a barn and this like barren land in front of this farm. And it says, "Behold, the field in which I grow my fox. Lay thine eyes upon it and thou shalt see that it is barren." And it's like, yep, that's about
Pretty
the
much.
size of it.
Lisa and I are not making this stuff up. There was a sociologist.
I know we do sometimes, and it's pretty funny, but we're not.
No. There was a sociologist in 1983. His name was Arlie Hochschild, and he wrote a book called The Managed Heart. And he's the one who coined the term emotion work, or also known as emotional labor. And it was basically geared toward people in the like service fields, like flight attendants who have to manage passengers' feelings in terms of doing their job. But now this concept applies broadly to home life and relationships and the emotional load that women are carrying at home, but we're not getting a paycheck for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, there's all sorts of research behind that. It's interesting to me that it doesn't matter where the woman lives, how they were raised, what socioeconomic status they have, what country they live in. It's degrees, right? And that's about it. Everybody does it. And so to me, what that means is it's not a sociological thing. There's some kind of biological hormonal thing going on. And, I remember when Karen Baskett was on one of our menopause episodes, and she talked about estrogen literally being the people-pleasing hormone, right? And I don't think it's... Okay, just so you know, that was my alarm telling me to change my estrogen patch. I think somehow it's fitting. At any rate, so...
God has a sense of humor.
I know, right? So, if you think about it, your estrogen is at its highest, right, in your childbearing years when it's just crazy time, right? But as my alarm says, when you run out and need to have it chemically induced, the field is barren. The fucks are not there. The forks are not left to give. And so I think that hormonally, this is feeding that, right? I don't think it's just a behavioral social thing. I think it's a biological thing in a lot of ways.
Yes. And I think it conflicts or it correlates with when we start to want to do less things and we start to want to just kind of put some things down, we feel inside like we're doing something wrong also.
Yep. 100%.
Because what kind of a mother are you? What kind of a partner are you? What kind of a woman are you? And we've gotten a lot of praise and accolades over the years. Oh my gosh, you can do it all. Look at you. How do you manage it all? Oh my gosh, you're so right. And it's like, well, yeah, but people don't realize I'm freaking exhausted on the inside.
Yep.
So I think, when biology kicks in, then we have this kind of like internal battle. Like, I really want to just take a nap.
Yeah.
But I feel guilty.
I also think it's that introvert extrovert thing, right? Like people are like, "Oh, you're such an extrovert." And like, yeah, I can see that, but also like when I'm done with the people, I am done with the people. I need no contact with the outside world. It's exhausting for me when I'm around like after a while crowds and things like that. Yes, I have that energy and I do that for a living, and obviously we do this podcast, but there is no tired like post people pleasing, post being around people, post like being on tired.
Yeah. And it took me a long time to figure that out. It took me a long time to be okay with, oh, wow, I really can only do one peopling activity a day. And then if I do it multiple days in a row, I'm going to need a day
Totally
to just myself.
Yep.
And it took me a long time to realized what was happening and that I needed that. And it also took me a long time to not feel guilty about it, to not worry about needing to just kind of retreat for a little bit and, fill my cup up again so I can go do the things.
Yep. When my husband first started showing symptoms of his disease, I would talk about like getting frustrated with him that he would need me to cheerlead him. I felt like I was this freaking cheerleader on the sides, like, yay, let's go all the time, like trying to cheer him up, trying to like motivate him. And I just remember we would get in fights and I was like, I'm not going to be your fucking cheerleader anymore. Like, this is not my responsibility. I can't do that. And I really had to, I've gotten much better at it, but I really had to like focus specifically on taking myself out of that position because it was so natural to me to be like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? Like, no, it's fine. Like, things are okay and you're okay. And it's this, when you have someone that has a health condition like that, I mean, I suppose it can kind of be excused, but I'll tell you what, it didn't make a damn bit of difference anyways. So that's kind of what finally did it. I was like, it literally does no good. And in fact, it enables it a lot of times when I was just like, hey, and then it would make it 20 times worse.
That reminds me of a conversation I had with a friend of mine a week ago. And she and you are very similar. You put a trillion balls in the air, do things extremely well, and just go, 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 like cannot stop. And she travels for work, and her husband was saying something to the effect of, well, do you really, do you have to travel so much? I just, things are so much better when you're here. I'm so much better when you're here. Or, something like that. I'm not getting the words exactly right. And he's like, I just don't do as well when you're not here. And her response was, why? Like, why can you not function?
Let's analyze this.
Well, we don't really need to. I mean, we know what's happening, but it's like,
oh my God.
When she was telling me, I was cracking up. I'm like, that is such a good question. Why? Why can you not do it?
I have literally had the same conversation with my husband. I hate, because I travel for work too. I hate it when you're gone. Well, why? Well, I miss you. Really? Is that all it is? Because I call bullshit to that. Like, just saying. He's like, it's just so hard. And I was like, because, let me finish your sentence. Because I do it all? And he's like, no, that's not it. I'm like, really? Really? Is that not it? Because I kind of think it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so how many other women are out there, kind of at this point in life going, why, to their partners or their kids, maybe their grown kids. Why can't you do it?
To quote the Backstreet Boys, tell me why.
Yes. But I mean, we're laughing. It's kind of funny, kind of not, but like, let's talk about the cost. Like, what is it costing women, and kind of what you said earlier? It's like living on that, in that emotional place up here where you're just functioning up here. It's exhausting, and your nervous system is going to get to a point where it's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I've started to do a better job of kind of the outsourcing, right? Of, well, I guess my kitchen is just going to look like a mess most of the time because he's not really good at keeping handle on that. So like by the time the cleaners come once a week, it is like a genuine shit show in there. And I have had to just kind of back off from that, right? Like I like to change my sheets more often than he does. And it drives me crazy, but I don't know how he's have time to do it because I'm doing all the things. And I've got, a 40+ hour a week a job and 2 businesses. And I do a podcast and blah, 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 blah. So it's like, well, Lise, you're going to have to just chill on some of this stuff and decide what the priority is because you cannot take any more on. So I think there's that part of it, right? But it's not like I can outsource worrying about my kids. Like it can't be like, hey, super nanny, come on in and magically. Plus, I don't really like super nanny, so that's a whole another topic. But yeah,
Mary Poppins,
totally right. I mean, nope. No one's coming to save you on that one.
Hey there, I'm Lisa Coricella McDowell, your midlife Pacific Northwest princess, here to guide you in the art of next leveling your life. I'm passionate about women's health and wellness in midlife, especially for moms parenting kids with unique needs like I do. I truly believe we can learn, grow, advocate, and care for the planet while taking care of ourselves and our families. And I'd love to help you do the same. And I'm beyond excited to tell you about my membership for maxed out mamas just like me the Empowered Parent Collective. It's a space for parents to confidently advocate for their kids, build inclusive communities, educate themselves, and find balance and support along the way. To find out more about the Empowered Parent Collective, my classes, wellness offerings, parenting tips, advocacy resources, and exclusive Drinks with the Girls goodies, head to nextlevellifewithlisa.com. Let's survive and thrive in the messy middle together.
You have to just prioritize. And like you said, you have to let the things go, like the monogram stockings or whatever it is on the daily. But I think over time it leads obviously to burnout and just emotional depletion. And also what I've experienced in the past is like it's resentment too.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, you don't notice that the towels need to be changed and go in the washer, or, you can't put what's in the washer in the dryer, stuff like that.
I'm reading Chelsea Handler's book, I'll Have What She's Having, and we're in preparation. We're going to do one of our book reviews on it, right? But I don't want to ruin the episode, but it's just so interesting because she goes through this particular event where she's like, I'm done people pleasing. I am done doing all the things. And she writes a letter to her family, and I'll leave it for the episode, but it's literally like, suck it up. I am not doing these things anymore. So I don't want to say anymore because I think it's going to be a great episode, but she talks a lot about that in that book.
Yeah, it's a fun book, listeners. If you want to follow along with us when we do the episode, go grab it and read it. It's an easy read, and then let us know what you think. Something that we didn't touch on when we were kind of talking about the social conditioning that might impact, why women are this way and maybe men aren't. We are raised to be the caretakers. And honestly, it is a biological thing. What you were saying earlier, girls are born nurture. I've witnessed it. I have witnessed, not that boys are not nurturers, but girls are nurturing. And I think that is a biological thing. Not all girls, not all boys, but I think, and then you add in socialization. Oh, here's a doll for you. Here's a stethoscope for you. And that's changing now, hopefully.
I do know women, I'm thinking of a couple friends of mine in particular that weren't necessarily that way, but then when they had kids, right, it was all out the window. And it just seems like you just can't deny there's that biological propensity for it. And whether or not people really lean into that is a whole other thing. But let me tell you, society's got its money riding on that. Like, it's not like society's going to push you the other way and be like, don't be nurturing your kids. Don't be like nurturing the world. No. Like, if that's not what you want for yourself, you got to push really hard in the other direction. So back to the whole thing about like we're our own worst enemies, right? Because a lot of this we bring on ourselves. Let's get real, right? The monogram stocking stuff. The other stuff I've noticed is I'm so used to like putting my number down for the school to call, or my credit card like is what right? Because it's just like, oh, it's just easier if they have my contact information. So my husband, rightly so, is like, well, they don't contact me because they don't have my freaking number. Like, it might be good to put both of our numbers on there, right? Like, no wonder the robocalls come to me, for God's sakes. And it's like, duh, dirty dirter. And so I've tried to get better about like, like I was talking to my son's case manager. You guys know that he graduated last year. And so he's in a program now. And she'd called to talk to me about some stuff. And she was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I haven't been talking to you. I just talked to your husband. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, thank God, like finally he's spearheading this. But I said to her, I was like, you don't have to cover both of us off. Like, we speak for the trees. Like, if you talk to him, and in my mind, I'm thinking, if he remembers, you talk to me, right? But I do think that in some of that stuff, we have to be like, yep, when it asks on the form, is there another person we can call? Don't blow it off. Yeah. Put your partner's number there, right? Like, don't set yourself up for failure. Like, hello.
Yeah, I think it's a training process.
Yeah, totally.
And it has to start from the get-go, because once you get into like I said, the train, once you're on that train, it's hard to stop it. And the men are not, it's not that they're not capable, and it's not that they don't want to help and be a part. At least, the men that you and I are with. And the thing that is difficult for me is I just want you to notice the things that need to be done. I need you to notice when the milk is gross in the fridge and toss it out.
Yeah.
I need you to notice if the laundry needs to be switched to the dryer. I just need you to I need you to notice that I'm recording a podcast and, maybe I should start dinner while I'm,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that, instead of, because we can tell them, like, Tony will do whatever, but it's like, that's part of the, the mental
Yeah.
load is, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
that's
like,
hard because you just like, I just want you to think about it, not do it. Right. And yeah, we have a point, but at the same time, it's like, is that reasonable?
Hell yeah, it's reasonable. I mean, and I do feel like I come on here and I do a lot of whining about, I don't want to do this, and me. But I do, I think a lot about this, especially because we do have this podcast and we talk about things like this a lot. I want things to be different. And so it's like, I'm going to have different expectations. And sorry if there's a little bit of pushback, or, it's not going to be easy right out of the get-go. He's not going to say like, oh my gosh, I want to make dinner tonight.
Yay!
It's not going to happen.
But spoiler alert, neither are you.
Totally. Yes. Wine and cheese for dinner again tonight.
Charcuterie.
That I make dinner like a couple nights a week. It's not
hey,
like I never.
I'm just impressed.
My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women unapologetically design a life they're in love with. Because what the hell are we waiting for? My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and free offers, like my midlife reclamation guide. In it, you'll find tools to help you decide how to create the most inspired and empowered version of yourself and your life. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. See the show notes for all the details. Cheers.
We're kind of switching to this mode of I plan the meals and the grocery stuff. He does the shopping. I'll order it on the Click Shop, and he does most of the cooking because I don't have the bandwidth anymore. So he's really great about that, right? And mostly he doesn't complain. But one of the, it's kind of funny, but it isn't. Like, one of the hiccups to all this is he will leave out ingredients or things like the vegetable or the glaze or whatever, and it makes me a crazy person. And I just have to like sit on my hands because, there'll be times when be like, well, you make the fucking thing if you don't know, right? But I'm just like, really?
Yes.
Like the vegetable? I forgot. Really? You forgot? So I constantly have this battle about this.
Well, but of course, because then you're just like, well, F it, I'll just do it.
Totally. And I'm trying not to do that.
But that's where we were in the beginning. Like when my kids were young, and granted, I was a stay-at-home mom, so I wasn't juggling a career and the kids. But I took a lot of pride in doing all the things, and doing it well. And so it kind of became this kind of control thing, but then you become, you do that for years and decades, and then it's holding you captive.
Yeah.
Right. So these systems that we built
to make it all function,
ability to manage it all, but now we're burnt the F out and we just need a nap.
I can actually pinpoint the point in your life where the last fork was given. And I think it was sometime around between serving the homemade wonton soup to your family and your kids saying, ew, gross. And you're going, are you fucking kidding me with this?
Yeah. No, it wasn't that was early on. They were little. They were like, I don't know, 7 and 9 or something. I don't know. I don't think it was quite then. It was a little bit later, but
that was the first inkling though, I bet. You were just like,
Yes, that was the first fork that left the building. Yes.
Yes. Yep, that was row 1 of the forks for sure.
Yeah.
And
that's part of the resentment.
Yeah.
Like, I was pissed at those little kids. It's like, how dare you? I just
girl,
made you
I feel you.
Wonton soup.
I freaking feel you. Believe me, because it's like, really? Seriously with this? But I think what's hard is it's just this like dynamic it's just a disaster no matter where you slice it, because it's like to get to that point you overfunction, right? But to let other people to get to the point where you want other people to help you, you've got to stop over functioning. But it takes some time to learn to function. And so you want to step in and fill in the cracks because otherwise it doesn't get done. And it's just this horrible push-pull of things. And it's not pretty, right? It doesn't just happen. You don't just walk in and announce, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And they don't suddenly magically be like, you're right, Mom. You're right. Let's step it up. And then like magically the meals are planned, the things are done. Like we bitch about cooking. I feel like we have issues. That doesn't just magically happen. So it's really hard not to step back in again and be like, fine, I'll make the damn vegetable or the glaze or whatever, you know? And you really have to fight with, I mean, letting go of perfection doesn't even begin to like start the step.
Yeah, and that's a scary feeling.
Yeah,
especially
totally.
For A-type personalities, perfectionists, control lovers. The thought of letting some of that go and releasing some of that is scary because it's like, oh my God, things are going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So it's like that middle area while you're trying to get other people to take some of the load on is that, that I want to say gray area, but that's not what I'm thinking. Anyway.
Yeah. Like, I kind of feel we're a little hypocritical when I say this because it's like, we have a Pinterest channel. If you've seen us on Pinterest, we're on Pinterest. But you do have to let go of the Pinterest when you're in this kind of situation and not just double down on the perfect, like I said, monogrammed holiday stockings. Like, that kind of shit is just, you gotta let it go because you're going to drive yourself crazy. Like, really, is it worth it? Just saying.
Yeah, no, you have to get more comfortable letting things be imperfect. And that's not easy. Not easy to do. So where are the men in all of this?
Where are the men? I don't know why I'm singing tonight, but there you go. Love it or leave it.
It's not like they're forcing us to
totally
take on the mental load, And literally, like, Tony's probably not even aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he thinks the outside is his terrain. The inside is my terrain. I mean, I'm imagining this is kind of what he's thinking. So it's like if something needs to be handled in the inside, I will handle it unless I ask him or give him a list or something. Then, of course, he'll do it. But he doesn't automatically think, oh, look at this hamper overflowing. Maybe I should toss some whites in.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I remember Tony saying that we did a Valentine's episode and he was talking about, I didn't work on my first relationship at all, really. And, I really thought that being the provider was the way to go. And I'm not going to dive into that whole dynamic, but you're right. It's not like that's something that they're being taught to look at. But, honestly, sometimes, like I said, we do it to ourselves. We joke about the 2.5 fishes, right? Where I'm in there, like, just like a freaking crazy Tasmanian devil, like whipping up this meal that it takes like 2 weeks of Italian grandmothers to make, and me telling my husband, I don't think I can do this anymore. He's like, well, no fucking shit.
Right.
And I'm like, but the tradition. He's like, you don't see the kids eating it. And he's like, just saying, like, I don't know if I, and he's like, well, that's on you, babe, and he's right.
I think it might be partly because, we think of how our moms did it and what we grew up with.
Totally.
And, but like you said, there were other women making that meal. It wasn't just one woman.
Yeah, totally.
In your family when you were younger. So, yeah, I think letting go. It's all coming back to what we are willing to let go of and put down and either let somebody else pick it up or maybe it just stays down and we have to be okay with that.
Yeah. And I mean, let's get real. And the patriarchy episode is coming. We are planning it, just so you know. The patriarchy lives in times of old. Okay. Society was designed to function as an agrarian society, which is why we go back to school in September, right? It was designed to function with the man being the breadwinner, the hunter, and the women managing the home. And if you go further back, like multi-generational families, right? And so people had these big families because there was all sorts of people around to share that load. So it was never, honestly, even the patriarchy was never designed to put all the weight on our shoulders. Like, period, full stop. It's just modern times where we've kind of co-opted all of that and just put it on our pathetic little shoulders. I mean, honestly, like, and I mean, I cannot believe I'm saying this. May the drinks of the girls goddess strike me dead, but it's not really the patriarchy's fault. Oh my God. Okay, I'm feeling flushed.
Yes, not 100%.
You're like, nope. I am not going down that train, girlfriend.
Well, because of the way that we're socialized early on, boys are praised for being independent, taking risks. Girls are praised for being helpful, being empathetic, being responsible, and I just think those messages, they're strong, and it impacts who we become and how we move through the world, and it shapes how we divide the emotional and logistical labor in life. And then we get to a point after we've been doing it for so long that we're like, oh, I'll get it, I'll handle it. And then the men are like, oh yeah, she's got it.
Yeah.
And it's true, we do, but we're burnt the F out.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you're constantly fighting those societal boxes, right? Girls are pink, boys are blue, like, all that kind of stuff for sure.
So we can't totally let patriarchy off the hook.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't, but still.
But as we say every single time we talk about men, we are not blaming them.
We love the men.
We love the men. We're not bashing them. We're blaming the system. Right? This is the system that we've all grown up in. We've all been functioning in, and it's the system that has us exhausted and overwhelmed from carrying the mental load.
And I do think there's another part to this in the sense that it's not that men don't want to help in most cases, right? They do, but they don't really know how to step in, right? And so it's kind of
especially if they're going to get chewed out for not doing it right.
Well, exactly. Right? And I mean, my husband and I have had many conversations like over insurance, right? Because he's a ferner and they don't run things that way, right? And even 20 years later, he's like, this insurance system is crazy, right? And so we go round and round and round where he's like, I don't understand it. Like, you understand it. And I'm finally just like, no, like, I just muck through until I get it done, right? Like, everybody always thinks I'm this tech genius. Karen is like, oh, I couldn't do the tech. And it's like, no. This is like failing a bazillion times until you finally like figure something out. And then I just have a rinse, lather, repeat cycle that happens to be faster than the average bear. There is no, oh, I have this natural aptitude to it. But if we don't let people try, then that's shame on us. And yes, we don't want to have to be the ones to tell them. But are we really going to sit in our like self-righteous place and be like, well, I didn't tell them and it's still their fault because they didn't do it? Like a certain point, it's like, come on, I get it. But
I always have to go back to the cooking thing in my house. And so like I've shared on this podcast before, I finally just had a conversation with Tony and I said, look, I don't want to be the one that is always just planning or thinking about what we're going to eat for dinner. He was fine with that. I'm like, one night a week, especially the night that I'm recording the podcast, I need you to plan dinner. And that went okay. It went well. I had to remind him, okay, tomorrow's your night for dinner, blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of faded away a little bit. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to get a rotation of like 5 or 6 easy recipes.
There you
Spaghetti,
go.
sloppy joes, stuff like that. And I'll send him the recipe. I'll lay out the ingredients and then he will make the dinner. So that's not really what we're talking about in terms of, kind of setting down some of the mental load, but I don't give a F at this point. I just want dinner made. I just don't want to make the dinner.
You kind of have to figure out like what you're going to settle for and kind of how the easiest thing to do, Yeah. But it's shifting slowly, but it's shifting, right? Like, I mean, when we had our kids, well, actually, I think it was happening when I had mine, but definitely not when you had yours. We didn't get fathers didn't get paternal leave, maybe 3 days. That was not a thing at all. That kind of stuff. Society did not support. Yeah. I mean, frankly, it wasn't that long ago that fathers weren't allowed in the delivery room.
Right.
It was considered
our generation, right? When we
right? Unseemly. That's not okay, right? So we've got that. I mean, yes, we're getting to the point where we divide chores. I don't know if I'd say evenly, but it's that mental bandwidth division that is, I just feel like we're way far away from that.
Yeah. I look at like my son, I look at the millennials and the Gen Zs, and I do think they are going to be better off than we are. I think, slowly but surely, the traditional cultural roles, the societal expectations are changing. Men are being more aware, and men want to be more involved, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So our famous takeaways. We always like to leave you with something to hold on to. So number 1, I know you want to think that they'll do it by osmosis and telekinesis and all that, but you need to get the fuck over it. Okay. You have to name it out loud, right? You have to make them aware. And I know it's annoying, but you have to say it. And not only that, by doing that, you're giving it shape, meaning, visibility. And once you kind of put it out there, then people can kind of step up to the plate, and not in a whiny, complainy kind of way. It's like, I feel that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I do think there's a lot to be said for that mental load thriving in silence in the echo chamber of your brain, where you have these conversations of like, he should want to do it, but he doesn't, right? It's like we feel like we're 6 different people in our head. So I do feel like that saying it out loud is really the first step.
So the second takeaway is stop being the default. Just because you can do it extremely well doesn't mean you should be one that does all the things extremely well. So being the default parent, partner, planner becomes your pattern, and it becomes part of who you are. And so much so that it's so ingrained in you, you don't know how to step back. So be brave and think of one thing that you can let go of, one thing that you're okay if it doesn't get done the way that you want it to get, because that's how people in your life are going to learn. They're going to figure it out. And it'll either, people will be like, oh, well, mom's not going to do it now, so we better do it. Or nobody will do it and everybody will be fine. Like Lisa loves to say, nobody will die.
So I think the other thing we fall into is this idea of like delegating. So help do that, but I offered to help you with the that's not really taking the mental load away. You're still the project manager, right? Just because you have foot soldiers to carry it out doesn't mean that the load is easing. So you have to have people take ownership. Now, this is assuming you've done number 1 and number 2, that you let it be imperfect, let it be. So you got to get those right before you get to this particular place. And it's definitely a stretch goal. Like, I'm not going to lie, but it can't change if you don't speak it out. Talk to people. I'm feeling like this. What can we do to fix X? You have to share kind of the ownership of the situation. You can't just delegate. I mean, yeah, it'll help. It's a start, but it's not going to change that hardcore paradigm, I don't think.
Yeah, it needs to be a change that it needs to be not just you saying,
yeah, totally.
Hey, can you put the laundry in the dryer? They need to just do it.
Yep.
Number 4, protect your energy like it is sacred. And I think this is one that can be hard for women, but once you start to do it, you will guard it with your life. Because your time, your attention, your peace, like that is like a resource. And you need to treat them that way, because when you don't have your bandwidth, you don't have your energy, you don't have your peace, then you can't do all the things, and you're just going to burn out.
Yes.
And you don't owe anybody emotional availability 24/7. And it's really hard with phones, because people can get a hold of you 24/7. And so it's okay if you don't respond to that email right away, if you don't respond to that text right away, if you don't respond to that phone call right away.
Yeah.
Protect your energy.
The great philosopher T. Swift, I think it's said it best. What does she say? Like, protect, I'm going to screw it up. She's basically like saying, protect your energy and your time like it is $1 million energy and time. Like it is the most expensive thing on the face of God's green earth, and charge accordingly, is essentially what she's saying. Last one, number 5, I think we are. Drop the balls one at a time. If you drop all the balls not good. Try to just let it go little bit by little bit. One thing a week that you're not doing. Kind of like I was like, all right, I'm going to let go of the kitchen being a disaster. I feel like that's more than one ball, but baby steps. So don't over-explain, over-analyze, apologize, just let it drop or let people take one thing. And you can breathe into the paper bag if you need to. But again, no one's going to die if the stockings aren't color coordinated and like measured 5 inches apart exactly. I promise you. You may think it, but no one's going to die.
And just try one, just an easy one to start with. Just put one thing down that doesn't scare you too much. So I know we've been laughing a lot during this conversation and having some fun, but it is real and the mental load is real. And so if you find yourself feeling exhausted, feeling burnt out, feeling resentful, just step back and maybe take a look at all the things that you have not only on your plate, but in your mind, and just start to recognize what you can put down. Start to recognize how you can have a conversation with the people in your lives, how you can start to guard your time, because you don't want to spend the next chapter of your life exhausted and burnt out and resentful. You want to thrive, and you cannot do it unless you put some of that mental load down.
Yeah, I definitely think it, like I always hate when people are like, take a deep breath, breathe. Like, I'm trying. Right? But I do think you have to like give yourself some space, because unless you get a little distance from it, it's so hard when you're in the moment and you're just trying to do all the things. I think that you have to just give yourself some mental space to kind of look at the calendar, look at things, like take kind of a long view to consider all this. Don't be like, it's Monday morning, hey, let's see what I can give up today. Like, no, that is going to drive you crazy. You have to just kind of, I guess find some space would be the best way I would think about it. So here's one thing you can do to give yourself some space. Subscribe to the Pod Squad. Then you don't have to worry about when to download us. It'll show up every week, and y'all are starting to do that, which is awesome. And share this with someone that you know that is carrying the mental load and looking a little bent over from it, which I'm sure if you think about it right now, you can think of at least half a dozen girlfriends that are in that boat. So I know you can.
And my hope is that maybe if you are new to the term, the mental load or the emotional load, that this podcast has, helped you kind of realize, oh, wow, I am really holding a lot, or I am doing some things that maybe my family can help out with, or there are some things that I really don't need to do anymore. Put those down, especially with the holidays here. We know that the mental and emotional load is on steroids. So take a breather, protect your space, recognize maybe it is this mental load that is making you feel so depleted. And, don't be afraid to have some conversations about it. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Share, like, comment, leave a 5-star review, sign up for the Pod Squad, all the things, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.